Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the YouTube audiobook series for The Forbidden Truth, written by Abby Matthias. I am Abby Davis, and today I will be introducing Chapter 13. If you missed Chapter 12, links in the description below, also the playlist and the Wattpad where this original series is being posted also. So, if you are all caught up, though, and ready to go, we will continue on with Chapter 13, Possessing Power. Tell me specifics. What did he do?
I asked, trying to find answers. I needed to know exactly what he did while I was with Brutus. If there were any injuries that required magic, I was going to have to take her to the actual hospital down here. He clawed me with his nails, she said, slowly trying to mask her pain. Immediately upon her response, I lifted the body's arms to see hole punctures, almost the size of dollar coins, were spilling out blood at an alarming rate. Thinking fast, I knew I had to make tourniquets and place them by the elbows to slow down the bleeding and get back to my house. Yet I just didn't know what to use for them. However, with catching a glimpse of my torn shirt that Abby was wearing, I understood what I needed to do.
I need you to take off your shirt.
What? She exclaimed. Why the hell would I do that in a time like this?
I suggest if you don't want to bleed out and die within my body, you allow me to instruct you. I'm taking off the damn shirt.
After my scolding, she briefly nodded her head, and I rapidly ripped the shirt off her body to form long strips of fabric. What are you doing? She finally asked.
Making tourniquets for your arms. It will help slow down the bleeding. I'm also going to wrap the wounds to decrease the risk of infection.
While talking, I did exactly what I explained to her and successfully slowed the bleeding. Now, it was time to fly.
Gently get off the table. Once we get to the balcony, I'll hook my arms under your armpits again, and I will fly us back to the house. From there, we can do more.
Slowly but surely, she started to scoot the body forward to reach the end of the table. Once she approached it, I grabbed her waist so that she could hop off and land safely. Of course, she grunted in pain because of being jolted around, yet she was a trooper and kept trying to mask her agony from the injuries. Her posture was affected as she could only arch her back and slouch from the thrashes on her chest. She tried to lift her left hand up to hold herself, yet that made the pain worse and made her vocalize. Ow! Fuck, it hurts.
I know. Just hold on a little longer. Walk to the balcony.
Eventually, she began to step and walk as I stayed alongside her. Once we got outside, I hooked my arms underneath her armpits again and flew us out of the castle towards the sky. Now, I know this was my first time flying with her body and flying from the castle to my house. However, I still knew the direction of where my home was located. And within a span of a minute, I landed us safely upon the ground and let Abby inside. Immediately, I ran for the first aid kit in my closet and placed it on my desk. Abby managed to walk herself to the bed and sat down while trying to calm her breathing. As I opened the cover of the first aid case, my brain started to spiral in confusion and overwhelmedness. I had absolutely no clue why. It was used to seeing such tools from my past life. Regardless, I brushed my feelings away and walked back to Abby again. Why does this hurt so bad? She cried.
Because it broke through your skin. This isn't just some light scrape or cut.
So what are we gonna do to fix it?
We will do something,
I said, forgetting my words. I wanted to tell her exactly what I would do to mend her skin, but I couldn't remember what to do. My memory was working against me at the worst possible time. This hasn't happened before while I've been in her body. I still had my knowledge from being a doctor. Yet it was like all that information had escaped my mind and burned itself to ash. As that thought was settling in, my breathing began to pick up as a feeling of panic began to rise within my chest. What do you mean, something? What is that something? Stitches, gauze, bandages?
Abby, I don't know.
I screamed in fear. That wasn't how I wanted to present myself, but her body made its feelings known. I felt like I was drowning again in panic when I was supposed to be the calm one. The only thing was that I didn't know what to do, and it scared the hell out of me. Darius, for God's sake, come over here and hold my arms down. I think my tourniquets are becoming useless. We need to slow the bleeding down again. We need pressure. I quickly rushed over to her again and clasped down onto her arms tightly. She squirmed for a moment from the pain, and I began to freak out more.
I'm sorry. I don't know what I'm doing anymore. Why would the tourniquets be useless now? They should have helped.
They did, but they are only temporarily, like you said. Your body still needs medical attention before it loses too much blood.
I know it does, but I don't know how to help you. My brain is scattered and nothing is coming to me. Abby, I know I need to do something, but I can't recall my knowledge.
As I stared into my own set of eyes, I realized that overwhelming drowning feeling that I now had was exactly how I felt in that dream sequence with Miss Haynes. Except this time, I was drowning in panic and fear. My breathing was rapid to the point of hyperventilation, and I was slowly becoming lightheaded. Yet before I could pass out, my eye caught a glimpse of a bright magenta light that was shining low within my vision. So almost simultaneously, Abby and I tilted our heads downward to investigate. Upon sight, my hands were glowing as they were holding onto my body. Not only that, but the energy coming out of them surrounded the forearms. My eyes gazed from this phenomenon to Abby's face to see her starting to relax and release the tension. Eventually, she caught on to my confusion and spoke. I think you're healing me. My arms don't hurt as much anymore. At that moment, my eyes widened while I tilted my head down once more to the power. Hoping it would still work, I gently let go of her arms and moved my hands to the side of them to see if her statement was true. Sure enough, as we both gazed at the arms, the punctures were diminishing. All the muscles and nerves were mending together again until everything was healed. The top layer of skin eventually appeared and made the arm well again. After her arms were fixed, I took another chance and moved my hand to the chest to hopefully heal the deep cuts. Once more, the power effortlessly healed her wounds. Lastly, I made it to her cheek and finished. Once everything was mended, the power stopped, and I stepped back. All of this information was crashing into my brain like a ton of bricks. From not being able to utilize my doctoral knowledge to this sudden power of healing. Nothing was making sense at this point as to what the hell was going on between us. Yet, I think I had an inkling of what was happening. To be sure, though, I had to look at my powers book and hope to find the answer. Before doing so, though, I wanted to make sure my protector child was okay.
Are you alright?
Yeah, she said, a little hesitant. I'm just perplexed as to what all just unfolded.
I know. Same here. But I have a question for you.
Okay, lay it on me.
Did you do something to make him act out and hurt you?
Darius, I swear to you I didn't do anything wrong. He said he needed to injure me to make outsiders believe we still have a horrible understanding with each other. I tried questioning and saying that no one cares about our interactions, but then he basically said Brutus had to be fooled and that others could be spying on us.
Please tell me you know that was a lie.
I said after a slight pause. I don't know if that's true or not. I mean, the spy thing I could see, but he would know if something was spying on him, right?
Not necessarily. But I don't know enough about spying to give you a straight answer. The fact about Brutus is bullshit. So that has to be a lie also.
How can you be so sure?
Because Brutus is smart and is practically the left hand of Satan. He knows his plans inside and out better than anyone. He has spent God knows how long being his assistant, and knows Satan like the back of his hand. Plus, he told me he purposely summoned us both.
When did he tell you that? At his desk, he said it wasn't intentional.
I know. It was a charade. Brutus took me into another private room and told me he purposely summoned you so he could talk to you.
Well, what was the topic of conversation that was so important to him?
It was mostly protector demon stuff. He asked about our relationship, your wings, the demon body you have, etc.
But you didn't give him too much information, right? She asked as panic slightly rose in her voice.
No, I gave him as little as possible. Then I had that eye thing happen again as it showed you on the pool table getting hurt. That's when I marched out of the room and sprinted to you.
Well, thank you for that. It was greatly appreciated. But now we need to figure out why we switched bodies.
I think I know why already, just by reflecting upon it. However, I want to be sure. I'm gonna sift through the Powers book while you tell me what happened with the billiards game between you and Satan.
After my statement, I walked myself to my desk and grabbed the exact book I needed. I read through the pages kind of slowly as I was still trying to listen to Abby tell her side of things. Hell, I even had to stop everything after she told me about him offering me a counsel position. I did do the right thing saying no, right? She said nervously as I faced her briefly.
Yes, absolutely. If I didn't want to work with him as the dealmaker, I most certainly don't want to work with him on his council. The better question to ask is, why would he even ask me to be a member?
He said you could make a bigger difference if you were a part of it. He would pull some strings to transfer you into it if you so desired. However, because I told him no, he said he was going to leave it.
But do you really believe that, though?
I asked with a sarcastic face. Not really. I don't think he was okay with the choice I made or the fact we are still together. My brain keeps telling me he is trying to split us up without saying so.
Well, I'm glad we're both on the same page then. All of this is strange, and there is no reason for him to be so nice. He is just trying to get what he wants by being kind.
I stated, turning myself back to my book to read. After what seemed to be 5 minutes, I finally found the page I was looking for. Reading every word, I thoroughly absorbed the information so that I could relay it back to Abby. It was exactly what I predicted, yet I didn't know how to feel about it. Did you find the answer? Abby asked, standing up from the bed.
Yes, I did. It's definitely a power malfunction, but it isn't just an ordinary one.
What do you mean it isn't ordinary? None of your powers are. Why would this be different? After that question, I turned myself around once more to face her again.
Because this power is only given to about 1% of people in hell. So for me to have it is completely worrisome and baffling.
Okay. So what's the power?
It's the power of possession.
After the statement, she shifted her weight to her back foot and stumbled slightly in dismay. Her eyes widened as her arms were extended, and her palms faced me. My actual body began to breathe quicker, and I couldn't tell if it was from her emotions or her vessels. Yet she quickly found her words to vocalize. Wait a minute. You're telling me that this is because of possession?
Yes, and it would make sense. With possession, the demon gains every aspect of its host, such as features, voice, and emotions. That would also explain why I can't remember my medical knowledge. I can only obtain information that you know. I still have my own thoughts and feelings, but the aspect of intelligence is more complex.
But if that's true, how did you activate the power? I know it's a malfunction, but what caused the eruption?
An immense amount of thought and touch.
So, like how we switched from demon to human within my body.
No, not quite. Before the switch happened, my mind was racing with thoughts of you. I was so concentrated on them that it must have initiated this switch. Not to mention the fact that I was touching you and kissed your forehead before we fainted. That's why it happened.
After my explanation, she took a deep breath and nodded her head. Even though she did, I still felt some sort of tension or hidden confusion. Her fists were clenched slightly while her eyes were closed. To be honest, I was confused by this reaction myself, but the only way to figure it out was to ask. So I did just that.
Are you okay?
I asked almost somberly. I'm fine, yes. But your body is uncomfortable with that fact.
Why do you say that? What are you feeling?
Worry and stress? All your brain can question is why this is happening to you. I feel like I'm somewhat suffocating because of the emotions and thoughts.
Trust me, I know. I felt that way too. You're not alone.
I said, stepping closer to her. Do you know why your body is feeling like this?
To be honest, no. If I'm not experiencing the feelings myself, I don't know why I would be reacting like that. I'm sorry.
It's fine. You can't help it. I just wish I knew how to make it stop. With that statement, I reflected on if there was any way for me to help. I totally understand not wanting to feel these overwhelming sensations of emotion. My body was fearful, and I was trying to come up with a solution as to how I would fix this issue. Then, it came to me like a flash of lightning. I was possessing my calming mechanism. So knowing that, I understood what I needed to do.
I think I know how to fix it, actually.
I stated with confidence. And how was that? Without saying a word, I stepped into arm's reach and wrapped my arms around the body's shoulders. It was kind of weird in terms of hugging someone almost as tall as me. Well, hugging in general was still a little weird for me, but with Abby being around the same height made it easier for this to happen. I most certainly wouldn't have considered this an option if it weren't for Abby changing me. Yet as I hugged her within my arms, I realized her body felt the same way towards me. Almost instantly, the muscles of the body started relaxing and the overflowing feeling within my chest was diminishing. Eventually, I felt Abby wrap her arms around my back to complete the embrace as she let out a sigh of relief. We stayed silent for a few moments, just letting ourselves recoup from everything. Over time, our emotions settled, and I spoke again, still hugging her.
I'm sorry, this partnership has been nothing but chaos within the demon world. I wish I could make things better for you so you could just live an ordinary life.
Darius, she said, unwrapping from the hug but still keeping her hands on my arms. I know none of this is your fault, and that you didn't choose any of this. Don't throw a pity party because of it. I understand the circumstances, and you are doing your best to give me a normal life. We have hiccups, but we get through them and move on. To be honest, you're one of the best things that has happened to me. I know when we first met things were extremely rocky, but I can say with full confidence that you are truly amazing, and I couldn't have asked for a better person to be partnered up with. I love you, Darius, and don't forget that. I will always be on your side when it comes to all of this demonic stuff. So please, don't blame yourself or be sorry for things you can't control. It's all right. With that, she touched my cheek and made my thoughts disappear. Now, it was just Abby being okay with everything. My mind was clear, and my chest was filled with joy. That was until I suddenly felt faint and fell to the ground as I blacked out. As I woke back up, the back of my head began to pound because of the fall while my vision was extremely blurry. I had only an inkling as to what had happened again, yet the only way to fully know was to look at myself and recuperate from the sudden faintness. As my eyes were trying to adjust themselves, my ears could hear Abby groaning as she was gaining consciousness. Once enough time had passed, I was able to lift myself up and view my protector child staring at me within her own body. Somehow, and in some way, we switched back, and were back in our correct vessels. Of course, we ended up staring at each other wide-eyed as she spoke.
Are you okay?
Yeah, I'm fine. Are you okay? I asked back. In response, she just nodded her head and said,
I just wasn't expecting the blackout. But we made it back in our own bodies. That's what really matters.
I mean, you're not wrong, I said with a chuckle. With everything finally coming to a stop, I was able to notice that my shirt was fixed and laying nicely upon my bed. Knowing I could clothe myself again, I began to lift myself up to stand. Before I made my way to the bed, I extended my hand out to her to help my protector child up. However, she just gave me a weird look and spoke again.
Do you think it's a good idea to make contact again after what happened?
You and I both know it isn't going to work like that. I just want to help you get off the floor. Please just allow me this one kindness and let me help you. After my statement, she placed her hand on mine, and I helped her get up officially. As she became stable on her feet, I walked to my bed and began to dress my torso again. Silence filled the air as we both said nothing. Yet as I finished tucking in my shirt, a random, echoey voice filled my head.
Abby? Sweetheart? Oh my god!
Immediately upon that response, I glared wide-eyed at my protector child and started to panic. We need to get back to your body, now!
Well, I couldn't agree more. But why are you now rushing?
Because your mom just found you on the floor passed out. Out of my house, now! I scolded again, pushing her out my door. As I locked and slammed my entrance door tight, I quickly ran to her, grabbed her underneath her armpits, and brought my wings out to rapidly fly us back. As we made it back to Earth, I landed within the corner of the cosplay room while Abby slammed into her body. Peering down towards the ground, her mother was frantically shaking her body awake and realizing her daughter was waking up.
Oh my god! Abby, what happened?
I'm fine, I think.
She said, very groggy.
I think I passed out from dehydration. I don't remember drinking any water today. Could you get me a glass of water, please?
After Abby's mother sat her child up, she quickly got the glass of water and delivered it to her daughter. I stayed silent to allow the two to talk and recuperate from their scare. For the rest of the day, I wanted my protector child to have fun and forget about the demon world for the time being. So as I remained silent and hidden, my protector child was under supervision and hung out with her family.
This has been Chapter 13, Possessing Power, from the book The Forbidden Truth. Tune into the next video for Chapter 14. Thanks for listening.